last but not least, we're going to talk about exit strategies. This is just going to be a very brief overview, as mergers, acquisitions, sales, exits, all of that can get very complicated. So we're just going to kind of throw out the basics just to kind of get you thinking about, what it is that incorporates an exit. So first and foremost, nobody ever wants to think about closing their doors or selling, but you're going to at some point, whether that's retirement or you go out of business or whatever it is. But it's something that very few people talk about, and it's hard to find resources because it's just not a fun subject to talk about. But it's best to have planned for it now versus having to work on it quickly. So if you get, a deal that's too good or the economy just goes south, whatever it is, you want to be able to act on it now instead of just scrambling at the last minute to get it taken care of. There's a handful of exits that you would need to think of. The worst case scenario, you just go out of business. You can't pay your bills. I mean, it's a reality. It's possible. The other types of if you're going to go out of business, you're just going to retire, you can just shutter your doors. That's fine. You're done. Call it a day. The other ones are basically where you're going to transfer it to another person, whether that's selling to a competitor, selling on the open market, selling to employees, or selling to your family, like your children, or just giving it over to your children, whatever that is. Those are the normal types of exit. The reasons that you're going to exit, you've got a great offer. Somebody approaches you and says, hey, I've got X number of dollars and I want to buy your business. Great. You're ready to retire is another reason. You're tired of being a business owner. You started a business, you don't like it. You're bored. It's not what you thought it was going to be. You're not cut out for it. You aren't making the money you thought you were going to make. Whatever it is. And then obviously it's just not possible to stay in business. So what you need to know, first, you need to be transparent regardless of the situation. So if you're selling the business, if you're retiring, whatever it is, just make sure it's not a surprise to your employees. Now, you might have to kind of keep yourself a little guarded depending upon the situation, but be as transparent as you can. You want to know what your financial situation is. So your basic financials, and that's just, your P&L, like what your debts are, what your revenues are, what your assets are, like all of that stuff. Like you want to have a good grasp on that before you exit. And so that's going back to, a lot of what Aaron's talking about, and just what we suggest in general is that you just have a good grasp of your financials, and you understand, where your money is and what it's doing. If you're going to sell your business, you obviously want to value your business, and, this could even really apply if you're going out of business, because everything has some sort of value. So if you're selling your business outright and it's still a functioning business, there's a particular value there. If you're going out of business, there's still a chance that you could sell some of your equipment. You could sell your domain name, whatever it is. There's places where you could get cash. So don't leave anything off the table that has value. Just think of anything that, you could potentially make cash off of. If you're, selling the business or passing it along for other reasons, you want to make sure that you've documented your processes, and especially in sales, whether you in a sale, if you're trying to market the sale or whatever, the more buttoned up you are, the more attractive you're going to be, because it's going to be somewhat turnkey. Somebody can walk into your business and just pick it up and run it like you weren't even there. You want to make sure that you understand what your team might look like, because some people might leave because you're not there. Like, if you are your business, that's why people are there. And if you leave, they might leave. So be transparent about that with whoever the potential buyer is. You want to make sure that you have all of your legal paperwork in order. So that's ownership agreements, contracts, lease agreements, anything like patents, copyrights, anything that's going to pass along with the business. Make sure you have that well documented or ready to hand off to whoever's going to take over. You also want to identify what your role in the business might look like afterwards, because just because you're selling the business doesn't mean that you're going to exit the business, especially if you're giving it to a family member, or, if a lot of times there's going to be an agreement where you stay on as an advisor for 6, 12 months, whatever it is. Make sure you have that well documented so that you know what the expectations are, and whether you're just consulted or are you an employee? Are you going to continue to get a check down the line? Whatever that is. And And, lastly, you want to make sure that you're okay with somebody taking control of your business. For a lot of people, it's personal. This is your baby. Like, you've spent the past however many years building and growing, and blood, sweat, tears, all of that with your business. Are you okay with somebody taking control and possibly changing the direction of your business? It's very likely that will happen. So just, you got to come to terms with that. So think about that when you're thinking about exiting. Lastly, you want to know what your triggers are. Oftentimes, these triggers, they're not going to be planned. So you need to be ready for these unexpected scenarios. And that's why having the exit strategies ahead of time is a benefit. Because, somebody might walk in your business and say, hey, I've got a check. Let me buy your business. And you're like, oh, crap, what do I do? So it'll help with a seamless execution. So you've already identified everything that's going to go with the sale. You've been transparent with your team, and you have what the last piece is just like the communication strategy, because you might have to have some tough conversations with employees, people who have been with you for a long time. They might not be continuing with the business. Customers might get upset that you're no longer a part of it, or you're being bought by a larger company, whatever it is. So you need to get ahead of that ahead of time, because again, even if you're just selling this and walking away, this was something that you spent a long time working on, and you want to make sure that it is a success. So transparency is key, and don't leave anything off the table. Look at every area where you can benefit, and get ready to exit.